So, John, let's play a bit of S&S. It's
like what? Sorry,
S&S.
S&S.
It's like D&D, Dungeons and Dragons, but this time it's sheep and scientists.
Sheep and scientists. Okay.
So picture this: you're a sheep.
Okay.
With me so far?
I'm a sheep. Okay.
Great.
Yeah.
Now, one of your fellow sheep gets bitten by a mutated lamb thing and essentially turned into a zombie.
Okay.
Do you let them infect you and you overthrow your slave masters, or do you use this distraction to make your escape from the farm?
Escape from the farm, obviously. Why would I voluntarily become a zombie sheep?
Okay. On your way out, you notice that the sheepdog is about to get attacked by a zombie sheep. What do you do?
Let it burn. But that bitch has been chasing after me for years.
Wow, pretty harsh. Okay. You just remembered you have 2 lambs.
Okay.
You don't know if they've been infected yet because you already left. What do you do?
They're done for. I'm leaving them.
You abandon them? Okay. On your way out the farm, you find the original mutated lamb, which is struggling to stay alive. It looks very sorry for itself. What do you do?
Crush its skull and move on.
Ruthless.
Yeah, that's how you win these games.
Well, yeah, no, you've beaten me there. I didn't really have any further outcomes. You win, you live.
Thank you. Good. Yes. I always suspected I'd do well in a sheep zombie apocalypse.
I think you do one in the zombie apocalypse where you could outrun the monsters.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Very good. Well done.
Some films are fine just the way they are. Other films sometimes take it way too far. But really, how bad could it get? Let's go beyond the box set.
Welcome everybody to Beyond the Box Set, the podcast where today we are pitching prequels, sequels and spin-offs to Black Sheep. We'll also be pitching some drinking games and hearing from my listeners with submissions they've posted on Facebook and Twitter. But first we're going to talk about some of our favourite moments and give a bit of a plot summary. I am Harry, the host with the most experience in sheep farming.
Yeah, again, undeniable. You are Welsh.
And joining me
Stereotypes are true.
And joining me as always, the black sheep of the podcast is John Lucas.
Nah.
That is actually a noise that you make.
Yes, I know. there was no acting.
All jokes aside.
Yeah, I know. This movie spoke to me. What can I say?
Yeah, great. So, what do you think of this? Black Sheep.
This was exactly what I expected it to be.
Is that a good thing? Did you enjoy it?
Yes, I did. No, I did. It was just exactly what I expected.
I'm sensing a butt coming.
No, it was. No, this was good fun. I mean, it was like 80% of the way there.
Yeah.
It kind of reminded me of like Snakes on a Plane or something,
yeah.
Where I feel like somebody, presumably like the writer-director, came up with the idea, I know, kill a zombie sheep. Mm-hmm. Great, that's hilarious. Let's make that movie. Mm-hmm. And then they made the movie.
Yeah.
Exactly along that line. And they just threw all of the jokes they had into it.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's fine. That's perfectly fine. I would say I think the acting lets this film down big time. Or the lack thereof.
I've got to agree with you on that one, yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody really felt like they had their heart in it.
I don't know, it felt less like a proper film and more like a collection of like sketches. Like just, here's another funny thing that zombie sheep could be. Mm-hmm. Like it was like a zombie sheep extended sketch show.
Yeah. There
was no like, and you know, you don't go to a film like this expecting like a really, you know, watertight plot and Oscar-worthy acting. But I felt like a lot of the jokes would have been funnier if the acting was of a higher standard. Mm-hmm. Like nobody in this film has a Wikipedia profile, and I think that kind of says it all.
Yeah.
It just, a lot of the jokes just kind of fell flat because the way they were delivered wasn't very funny. Like the rhythm of humor, I found myself thinking, I know this is an unfair comparison, but I found myself like thinking, imagine this exact film, like same script, same concept, same effects, but it's Taika Waititi and Jermaine Clement and that whole crew. Mm-hmm. And it just instantly seems a million times funnier.
Yeah. Well, it would just be a lot more like what we do in the shadows at that point.
Exactly, yeah. But it would just have
it'd be like a decent mix between that and Shaun of the Dead.
Yes,
which is
definitely
way closer to what I think this film is trying to be. It's trying to be more Shaun of the Dead than it is.
Yeah, I mean, does this not predate what we do in the shadows anyway? So it's not like that's...
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, so I don't think they were ever like, that's what we want to do. Yeah. It's definitely got a lot of Shaun of the Dead in there, and it's got a lot of Peter Jackson, like pre-Lord of the Rings, Peter Jackson as well, which I really kind of grew up on. I don't know if you've seen... Have you seen any of the pre-Lord of the Rings, like, horror? Like,
no, I don't think so.
Like, before he did Lord of the Rings, he did these, like, really gross out horror movies. Like Bad Taste, Meet the Feebles, Brain Dead. And I loved all those. Like, but I loved them all when I was pretty much like you with this film. I loved them all when I was like 15 years old, and I'm quite nervous to go back to them because I'm pretty sure they won't hold up. Like, and they're probably outright offensive in places. But you know, as a 15-year-old, loved it. Like, because they just felt like so transgressive and naughty to be watching those kind of things. Like, you know.
Yeah, I think that's about when I watched this, maybe a couple of years younger. That was when I first watched Black Sheep. And yeah, so when I brought it to the podcast now, I was just thinking, like, this might hold up. If I remember it right, this might be a really good time, or it might just be absolutely shit, and I had no standards back then. And I think I agree with you. It's 80% there.
It's somewhere in the middle. The truth lies somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
So, I mean, how did you end up watching this the first time round?
First time, just at a friend's house.
Sure, it is a classic, like, oh, let's watch this piece of crap. You know,
Yeah.
This horror movie.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's very much a teenage boys film as well. Like, 100% a teenage boys
Yeah, it is, definitely.
Miles from civilization.
I have a dream for the future.
A secret experiment has given birth to a new breed of fear.
Bloody animals.
Oh, my lord!
There's something wrong with the sheep. They attacked us.
Oh, nonsense.
Oh God, no.
Get ready for the violence.
We're trapped.
Of the lambs.
The sheep are revolting.
Aren't they? Oh no.
Black Sheep.
Alright, shall I do a plot summary then?
Go for it.
Okay, so we start off.
I'm interested to see how you do here, because once again, this is a film that doesn't really have
Hell,
that much of a plot.
Get me going. Like as soon as I'm in, I'll be able to go. I think, but just
Well, so it starts with a kind of an idyllic farmyard scene of two young boys.
Got it.
Okay, go.
Yeah, so it starts there. The two young boys, and there's this pet sheep out in the garden or whatever, in the field. Yeah.
Well, they are sheep wranglers. It's a sheep farm.
Yeah. And we see do we see who it is, or we see somebody at least come up with like a big axe or whatever, and it's heavily implied that he kills the sheep.
Oh yeah, I don't think it's implied at all. That's what happens. He just decapitates that sheep.
Well, no, what I mean is you don't see it.
No, you don't see the head leave the body, but you certainly...
No,
yeah.
but like this film isn't above showing that gore.
No, certainly not, as we will discover.
Yeah.
And then some, yeah.
And so then the younger brother comes along and he's like, "Oh no, where's my sheep?" And so he goes looking about. He goes into one of the barns, and then the innards of his sheep just fall down from the ceiling, suspended by a chain.
Yeah.
And
classic kind of horror movie setup.
Yeah, and then behind him, his big brother jumps out wearing the skin of his pet sheep.
Yeah.
And I forgot what he says or screams.
They just scream, yeah.
Yeah. And
I mean, as pranks go,
that is whoa.
It's
and
extreme.
Yeah, and then somebody, I think the mother maybe.
No, it's not the mother. It's the housekeeper.
It's the housekeeper,
Mrs. Mack.
Sure.
She's quite a key character in the film. I mean, as much as anyone is in this film.
Yeah. This film's got a lot of characters.
Actually. It does. Yeah.
Too many. Yeah. But yeah, she comes in and says, "Boys, stop playing. It's your father." And it's like, okay, well, it's implied that the dad's dead. All right.
He's had an accident.
Yes. Which we kind of come back to later in the film. He drove his Land Rover off a cliff.
Yes.
If you were to walk into a barn and you see that happening,
what a dead sheep's innards being.
Yeah, being like, well, clearly the pet sheep, because it's kind of obvious that that's what it is. And the big brother is wearing its skin and tormenting the little brother, who is just like breaking down in a corner.
Yeah.
You tell somebody, if you're not the mother, if you are the mother, you send both boys to therapy right now.
Sure, yeah. I mean, I think there's a lot of issues under the surface with this family.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. And so then it cuts to like
15 years later.
15 years later, yeah. And our main character, who I think is called Harry, actually.
Nobody's name. There's only one name that I remembered from this film,
and that's Experience.
It's Experience, yes,
Oh my
for
God.
all the obvious reasons.
Well, anyway, he comes back to the farm. His brother has invited him back to the farm because he wants to buy him out.
Mm-hmm.
It turns out that in this 15 years, let's call him Harry,
Sure.
has he's left the farm and he's gone to college and stuff like that. He's
Yeah.
just started life away from the farm, basically,
Yes.
and it becomes very clear that he is terrified of sheep.
Yes.
And has been seeing a therapist for his whole life about it.
Yeah, which understandably
15
so.
years. Yeah.
This actually reminded me a little bit of my dad.
Oh, yeah.
Strangely enough. No, go me in this. Wait, does it? No. My dad grew up on a battery farm, a battery chicken farm, and
Not one where they grow away batteries.
No. A chicken battery farm. Yes, which I know is horribly cruel, but that's just I can't erase my dad's past. That's
Yeah.
That's how he grew up, and yet he has a terrible morbid fear of rats to this day because
right.
the battery farm was overrun with rats. So this guy coming back to a childhood farm of and being really traumatized by it, I was like, oh well, maybe this film's gonna strike a chord. It didn't, but you know.
Did your dad have a pet rat that was brutally murdered by a sibling, or?
I mean, he never told me about that, but
Okay.
it's entirely possible. Yeah.
Yeah, so the brother wants to buy him out so that the brother owns everything in that farm.
Yeah, I wasn't clear on the plot dynamics here.
No,
But ultimately, the brother's back, and he's being bought out of the farm.
Yeah, that's all that's important.
Yeah, this film is not heavily plotted, I would say.
No. And his brother he's practicing this. We first of all see him practicing this event because he's got this genetically modified sheep that he wants to reveal to the world.
Yeah. Is it for investors? I wasn't sure what the whole.
Yeah, I think he was trying to get investors for it.
Okay, right.
Just saying hey, if you give us some money, then we can make loads of these sheep.
We can breed this new sheep super species.
Yeah.
Did they ever say
No, they didn't.
what the purpose, what the sheep, what was better about these sheep? Did they produce more wool? Or
They never said.
Okay, fine. I did. That was a big question mark for me. To what? Because as you will discover, that's a big plot point. The genetically modified sheep.
But then also, what's not important about this film are details like that.
That is true.
Because we're not here to watch that.
No, you're right. No, we're not. Yeah, and I'll say this: film is short, so
Yeah, and so also we're introduced to two other characters. One of them is Experience, and the other one is just standard hippie.
I think he's called Greg or something.
Great.
Really generic. Yeah.
But they're activists.
Yeah.
And they are against GM.
Yeah, they're basically I'm always here for a film that's going to turn vegans into the unwitting villains. Yeah, essentially. So.
And so they try they want to try and get some evidence, basically, of what's going on.
Well, they're breaking into a lab that is also on the same farmland. Yeah.
And that's where they created this GM sheep.
Yes.
And so they're trying to get evidence, how it's bad or it's wrong or something.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
And so the guy, he runs down while the girl takes pictures, and he grabs just a random box that's while everybody's got their backs turned to him.
Yeah, there's these scientists in white coats and stuff.
Yeah, he can't lift it, so he opens it. He takes out one thing from inside
it's a canister.
It's this glass canister that's full of just weird biomatter. He can't really see what it is, and he runs off with it. But he's spotted and he's chased, and you have a little Lord of the Rings moment. You notice that?
Which bit?
Where they just hide underneath a tree.
Oh yes,
or something.
they do. Yes, again, New Zealand connection.
Yeah,
New Zealand This film is full of New Zealand connections.
I wonder how many New Zealand films have done that.
Oh sure, yeah.
Just we got Lord of the Rings. Don't forget.
New Zealand has two things: Lord of the Rings and schlocky horror movies. Yeah. And lots of sheep.
Yeah, and while being chased, he drops it and it smashes. Mm-hmm. And at one point when he's trying to crawl away or something, or he's hiding or something, I don't know. But this weird little lamb monster thing.
No, this is the first proper.
This is the first bit where the film gets silly.
But this is the first experience of the real practical effects that we're going to get from this film.
Yeah,
which I will say, very good.
It looked fantastic. It won awards.
It's the same. I'm sure you've read. It's the same practical effects team that worked on the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Oh, is it? I didn't know.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I appreciated so much. I mean, obviously, for this film is low budget. Like, I appreciated so much that it was a practical effects thing because it's always just a lot more fun. Like,
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's this papier-mâché looking rat baby lamb fetus. Yeah.
Clearly a puppet.
Very clearly a puppet. It looks like... Oh, you're far too young for this reference. But it looks like Lamb Chop. There used to be a little creepy old lady who used to do a puppet show, and she had a sock puppet called Lamb Chop. It had this really annoying song they would sing. Like, this is the song that does not end. It will go on and on, my friend. And it's like it goes around in a loop. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It looked like that.
Okay, so...
Like evil Lamb Chop.
Is that back in the 1920s?
Yeah. Listeners over 35, you'll be like screaming in recognition at that little reference. Yeah.
Okay.
Sherry Houston and Lamb Chop. Yeah.
Sure. She sounds old.
Well, she's dead now, so yeah.
So I guess she is.
Yes.
Great. And he gets bitten, firstly, in the ear by this thing.
Yes, and then we get our first... See, here's the thing. I did struggle a little bit because my least favourite genre of film is the gross out. I don't like gross out stuff. It just...
Yeah.
So I was kind of torn through this whole film by being amused by the effects and also being like, oh...
Yeah.
Like, more like nervous of what was to come.
Yeah.
And as it turned out, justifiably so.
Yeah. Yeah.
But also, I mean, it did look so fakey. Everything was clearly plasticine. And, So I couldn't really be that grossed out by it. But I was always a little bit on edge. Like, because I kind of expected, like, the key, when we'll talk about it, like, the thing that happens at a certain point in this film was something I was kind of like, for some reason, I just knew it was going to happen. I was just like, I know that's going to happen at some point. And it did.
Yeah.
But we'll get to it.
We will get to that.
Yeah.
He gets his ear bitten off by this thing.
Yeah.
And then over the course of the next few scenes, he starts turning into a sheep.
Yes.
Bit by bit.
So this escaped, or this unleashed chemical thing, this genetically modified creature thing, sets off a plague which turns actual sheep into killer zombie sheep.
Basically,
like flesh-eating zombie sheep.
Yeah.
And when humans get bitten, they turn into flesh-eating zombie sheep.
Yes.
Okay.
But like humanoid-shaped sheep.
Sure, yeah. They just start taking sheep-like qualities.
Yeah.
Sure, okay.
Yeah.
Just making sure I'm clear on the science behind all this.
Yeah. No, you've got it all correct.
Okay, good.
And so, yeah, the Experience, she is...
This is the name of the girl vegan. She's called Experience because this film really goes in hard on vegans and animal activists.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah, she meets up with our main character who was currently getting driven off the farm by the farm boy.
Now, okay, did you think... So, there's a character called Tucker who's the farm guy and there's our main guy, Harry. Did you think for the first half hour...
I'm looking up his name. But yeah, go on.
Sure, that this was going to be like a God's Own Country kind of thing?
No.
Well, I mean, I knew it wasn't going to be like a serious drama, but I got way more... Maybe it's just, I don't know, maybe it's just because, like, Experience was such a shitty actress and the main guy was so boring. Like, I got, like, anti-chemistry from them.
Okay.
Whereas I thought maybe like as a bit of humour, maybe like this came after Brokeback Mountain. I thought maybe there was going to be like, oh yeah, that farmhand's quite sexy. Maybe they're going to have a thing. And so I was kind of disappointed that then Experience becomes the love interest because she was just super annoying.
Yeah.
But,
his name was Henry, so...
Henry, close enough.
He probably was called Harry at some point.
Sure.
They meet up in the Land Rover and she's like, hey, you need to stop what you're doing and whatever, because...
She points a gun at them.
She grabs their gun somehow and points a gun at them.
Which they take very well.
Yeah. Well, luckily the farm boy's quite smart and he's like, you've not got the safety on here, let me show you.
Well, I mean, smart relative to
her.
To her, yeah. He says, hand me the gun, and she does, and he's like, I'm not going to give that back, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not exactly genius, but it works, you know.
And so they go to give her a lift back to her car.
Yeah. Very forgiving of the fact that she's just shot a sawed-off shotgun at them.
Yeah. Well,
but then
pointed
a sawed-off shotgun. Although that seems to just happen in this movie, so...
Yeah. Well, I guess they just wander off the land.
Sure.
Just like, we'll take you off the property, yeah, sure, just don't point a gun at us.
I'm just saying, if someone pointed a shotgun at you, would you then give them a lift somewhere?
No, but I mean, I wouldn't want them on the land that I owned, and if the land that I owned is like 50 miles in any direction, I'd be like, well, the quickest way for you to fuck off is for me to drive you.
I guess.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, and then well, there's a sheep in their tracks that,
Yeah.
that doesn't move out of the way for the Land Rover, and so they stop and they go and they try and get rid of it, but it won't go. I'm kind of forgetting where it goes at this point, this exact point.
Well, the sheep doesn't the sheep attack them? Oh no, isn't there like an abandoned house where some other guy's been killed by a sheep?
Yeah, they come.
That they end up in.
That's right. Yeah, they come across an abandoned house. They find this other guy that's been killed by a sheep.
Like horribly mauled, like throat ripped out.
Yeah, and they scream, and then that's when they realise that okay, it's the sheep.
There's a little
the sheep are killing everybody.
Sheep Shining crossover moment where the sheep just like bashes its head through the door.
Yeah, yeah.
And I can't believe they'd ever made the sheep say like, "Here's Johnny." Like, because
this film is not above that.
This film is not above that at all. Yeah.
No. Yeah, and so they then know that the zombie sheep are a thing, but they manage to get away, which does include a lot of experience telling Harry just like, feel your inner root, and all this.
This was just death for
great
me.
hippie stuff.
Yeah, like some of it was. This is the thing. Some of it was like jokes that I could appreciate were well written. Like again, I'm all here for a movie that shits on vegans, but they just weren't delivered in a funny way. They were just like awkwardly like said. Like there was no comic rhythm to the jokes.
What have you got against vegans?
Everything. What are you do-gooders?
Half of our friends are vegans.
I know. I hate them all.
Oh well. And so then, well, they escape. Though there is a bit of an incident where a sheep does manage to get onto their Land Rover.
Yeah, I mean, this is the key. Yeah, you can't just skim over like the key set piece of the movie where there's literally a sheep driving a Land Rover. Like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. In the process, the farm boy gets bit through
his name is Tucker.
Tucker. He gets bit through his boot.
Yeah.
And they all manage to jump out of the Land Rover, leaving the sheep at the wheel.
I mean, I laughed
which I feel is the most unrealistic that this film got, because like I was on board with like zombie sheep biting people and stuff.
Sure,
but that's the only time where a sheep did a human thing.
Drove a car.
Yeah, it drove a car. Like it was steering. It was steering.
What did it grip with?
I don't know, but it was, wasn't it? Like it was definitely there. Other than that, they were all just mindless zombies, and they were sheep, and it worked. That was the one bit that didn't feel like it fitted. If they did do a thing like "Here's Johnny" or something, then this would have worked. But I don't really think this was in keeping with the film.
Well, I think everything they did just came from a place of, oh, that'd be a funny little skit. You know, let's have a sheep. Yeah, I laughed a little bit at the sheep driving over the cliff. Like that was like that got a chuckle. I laughed a lot harder when they all jump off the same like back of the truck thing, and the dog jumps off, and the dog has clearly been flung.
Yeah.
I'm glad you noticed that too. The dog, just the way it landed, like someone had clearly just flung that dog off. Like,
yeah.
Oh god, that really made me laugh.
Which is weird because it's a fairly well trained dog. Like,
how hard is it to make a dog jump off like a prop?
At one point, they get that dog to jump over a fence.
Yeah,
and there's clearly nobody around. Don't know how to do it.
Just wasn't having it that day.
No. Well, maybe it was a bit much to do it like while moving and everything.
Sure. I mean, I don't know if they were really moving, but yeah.
Well, everybody, all the humans jumped off in that shot as well.
Oh, I see. It's just so they
and they landed on grass that was moving.
Oh, okay, fine.
So I guess I'm sure there's a lot of outtakes. I'm sure there's a lot of go on, jump.
Yes, I would love to see some behind. I'd love to see some behind the scenes stuff on this film because there's obviously so much practical stuff happening. But yeah.
So now they are without Land Rover and they are quite far away from the farm buildings. It never says how big the farm is, but let's just assume it's big.
Sure. I don't think like space and time particularly matters in this movie.
No. And they know that they need to get back to the farm because they need to warn other people, just like, guys, the sheep are zombies.
Yeah.
And weirdly, Harry's brother has people coming over to, let's call him Sam.
This makes this film way more entertaining for me just to imagine.
But anyway, he has people coming over to come and see this new sheep, and so they're like, we need to go back and warn these people, like, don't come to this farm because, like, shit's going down.
Sure.
And they do not get there in time. In fact, they get there just like a minute too late, just in time to see, once all the people are sat down, and Harry, who, by the way, has been bitten or something?
No, he hasn't been bitten. Tucker's been bitten.
Sorry, Tucker, I meant.
The farm boy. Tucker the farm boy has been bitten.
No. I meant Harry's brother. What? How did he get bitten again?
He just got bitten, I think.
He got bitten by the hippie guy.
That's right. The hippie guy has now become a sheep.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he
I mean, really, this is a futile plot summary. This film is absurd. Things just happen. You know?
I'm doing my best.
No, you are. I'm just saying, like, I wouldn't get too hung up on the order of events. Just, but well, these are things that happen in this nonsensical film.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so he gets bitten and he finds himself slowly turning into a sheep.
Yes.
We've skipped over a bit, as we have with many bits in this plot summary, because it is all over.
Yeah.
Or does it come later, where they go into the lab and they see that sheep that's been skinned and it's hanging from the ceiling? But
I think they find that on the way, don't they?
Do they?
I mean, I don't think it matters. At some point, they're in a lab, and is this when Tucker pulls his Wellington boot off, and you see that his foot has become a sheep's hoof?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
So there's that. Yeah, they find this lab. They go in. He takes his boot off. You see, it's that he's turning into a sheep.
Yes.
It's no good. They also find the sheep that has been skinned, cut open, but it's still got its heart beating and it's still alive, and it's horrific.
Yes.
But also, why is it that? What does this add to the film?
I don't know.
I guess it just shows that the lab is evil.
Yes.
That's what it shows. Yeah.
Yes.
They're playing with life and death.
Mm-hmm.
And from there they try and escape the lab, and they run, leaving Tucker behind.
Yeah, poor old Tucker is just left.
He gets injected with something and he passes out or whatever.
Yeah.
And
I was like, come back, you're the only charismatic actor in this movie.
Yeah. And the other two, they run away and hide in the only place they can, which is the waste pit.
Yeah. Which is what exactly?
It's where all the bio-waste goes.
Okay. But it
So
seems...
just all the bits and pieces of sheep.
Sure, I got that bit, but then it seemed like at a certain point it also became like an infrastructure underneath the entire field where they could just go anywhere.
Yes, it is connected to a cave system.
Yes.
I don't know.
Sure.
I don't know.
Sure, okay.
Convenient cave system.
Okay.
Which actually brings them out just at the right place so that they can watch as all these people that have gathered come and see this new Oldfield sheep get murdered by a flock of sheep.
Yes, and this is when the film gets very grisly, where the sheep just massacre an entire field full of people.
I love it.
Yeah, no, it was pretty fun.
What was your favourite death?
I don't know. I mean, they really went in. Like, this is when I was like, oh, they've spent some money on the special effects that maybe could have been funneled a little bit into the actors. But, like, a guy has his entire jaw ripped off by a sheep.
Ah, yeah, that's a good one.
A guy has his leg eaten.
Yeah, somebody else has their lips taken off.
Yeah. I mean, it's just very gory. Obviously you got your standard issue priest running around trying to do the whole "the Lord is my shepherd" thing, and then he gets eaten as well. And yeah.
Somebody gets their intestines just like slowly pulled out through their stomach.
Lots of that, yeah.
That's my favourite.
Yeah. It's very kind of like, Walking Dead, but with sheep.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'd say less shocking.
Well, yeah,
The Walking Dead's more like, here's a child getting eaten by zombies.
Yeah, The Walking Dead like holds a little bit back and then gives it to you in a moment that's going to shock you. This just goes all out.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
These sheep are eating people.
Mm-hmm. And weirdly, that's not like the end of the film.
No, that's only like halfway through.
Yeah. And so from here, it's more of a... Well, there's not much that happens from here on out, to be honest.
It's just running away from zombie sheep, basically.
Yeah. But Henry's brother...
The brother's fully evil, by the way.
He's fully evil, partly because he is turning into a sheep as well.
Yes, but he was always evil before that. I mean, he did... Yeah. We established that in the first scene, I guess, when he's the little kid. And Yeah. But he's not grown up.
No.
He's still evil.
But he is now losing his humanity.
Yes.
And he takes this Oldfield sheep that he's made, this genetically modified sheep, and it just, in all the commotion that's going on of everybody being eaten, he takes this sheep and runs inside to keep them both safe. And they have a little moment together.
And he has sex with it, yes.
Yes.
Because they just really went for every joke they could possibly go for. With it.
I did like it when our main characters burst into this room and he's there, trousers down, just like smoking a cigarette.
Yeah.
Just like a post-sex fag.
Yeah.
Right? Just so casually.
Yeah. But again, what was the brother trying to achieve?
I mean, well, this whole zombie thing wasn't deliberate.
No, that's what I mean. Like, but to what end were they? I mean, not in terms of shagging the sheep, but like, what was he trying to sell these sheep on? Like, what was his end game with all of this?
I don't know. Just to make a really good sheep that's better than another sheep. You know, like, I don't know, makes more wool or better meat, or you know, gives birth more often or something. I don't know.
Okay. But what you landed on was flesh-eating zombies.
Yeah, it went wrong.
Yeah, okay, sure.
Yeah. The lab containment systems of, throwing it in a hole.
Strangely enough, not working.
Yeah, didn't really work very well. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so then the brother just full on turns into a monster sheep.
Yes.
And they have a bit of a fight with it. Somebody turns on a plane.
There's like a little crop duster thing, isn't there?
Yeah, they turn on the propeller of this plane. There's nobody in the plane.
No.
It just seems to be wheeling itself around the field.
yes, I had questions about that as well.
Yeah. And just as the main characters are about to lose the fight, the plane comes up behind this guy, the brother, the sheep brother, and just like mashes up his back.
Yes.
You think he's dead, and they're all like, "Whew, okay, great." Whew. And then all these sheep are in the barn, and they're just like, "Hiya," and well, they don't say hiya.
No.
And
hiya. The sheep were just like really camp. Like, hiya.
And they're like, "Oh shit, how are we going to get out of this one?" And then the brother, now in human form but very injured,
yes,
because the farm boy's back.
Tucker came back,
and he just like wiped something in everybody's mouths and just like, "You're cured."
Yeah,
you're gonna say human now.
Yeah, he fully Deus Ex Machina'd this movie.
Yeah. And so then the brother, who has now turned into a human but is severely injured, he's like, "My lovelies, come back to me," and he just like walks into this herd of sheep.
Yes.
And they tear him apart, penis first.
Yeah, they eat his dick.
Yeah, and you see that.
You really do. They really
to an extent.
They really go there. Yeah, they really like. Is this movie going to show a guy getting his dick eaten by a sheep? Yes, absolutely, we are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then the cherry on top of this film is like, well, how are we going to get rid of all these zombie sheep?
Sure.
Well, they're eating this guy, and you know what sheep sort of contribute towards, greenhouse gases wise,
which we'd already established because this is one of the things that the annoying vegan woman had like banged on about the methane production from sheep. Yes,
yeah, they fart a lot.
They do, yes.
And so, of course, Harry just like lights his lighter and throws it, and then in slow motion we see his lighter spins and spins, and the flame goes out, but somehow the film moves past that.
That always happens in films. They always have the moment where the hero drops the lighter. But have you ever used a lighter? It goes out instantly as soon as you take your finger off the thing.
Yeah,
it just goes out.
I think there are lighters that you can like keep it on, like those weird sort of metal clip ones.
Okay.
But the amount of times that you've been holding a lighter like on, and then you like move slowly across the room to go and light another candle, or like across the cake to light another birthday candle, and just that movement blows the lighter out.
Yeah,
like that happens a lot.
Yeah,
there is not a chance in hell that you could ever throw a lighter and the flame would stay alight.
This is where the film really lost me.
Yeah, I mean, this is all films.
Yeah, no, it happens in serious films too. I agree.
Nobody ever throws a lighter and it goes out in the air in a film.
Yeah,
it would be funny.
It would.
Anyway, they throw the lighter, one of the sheep farts, it ignites it, and all the sheep explode. Happy ever after.
Sure. Yeah.
That's the end of the film.
Yeah.
That's it.
That is the film, yeah.
Yeah. Did they build much of a romance between Harry and...
I didn't give a shit. No, I mean, they did. They kiss. They have a kiss, but it's like, yeah. I was really hoping she would die earlier than she did. She didn't die. Yeah, she didn't die, so at the end. Like,
yeah.
She was a bad actress.
Yeah. They all were.
The main guy, so boring. Like, it really did take away from the film for me because they could have it would have been so much funnier with comedic actors who were charismatic. Tucker was kind of there. He was kind of doing it for me.
Yeah.
But, yeah, the main guy and the main girl were just so boring and bland and flat. Yeah. It was like they were improvising.
Yeah, but not well.
No, that's what I mean. That there was no lower praise. Like.
There is a bit of a bit after this, which is Tucker just giving that cure to literally everybody else.
Yes.
And so it's just all these... They're just going through the same fences that the sheep normally go through, and he's wiping the thing in their mouth just like they do for a sheep.
Yeah.
Yeah, then they just pass on into the next field, and it's just these people that are just like, oh my god, I was a sheep for a while. I am insane right now.
And I ate my nearest and dearest.
Yeah. And that's how the film ends.
Yes. Yes, it does. Yes.
It's weird, right?
Well, it ends with a cliffhanger, or a sequel setup, I should say, where we see the sheepdog in the distance.
Oh, yeah.
And then it bleats.
Yeah.
Implying that it has been infected, I guess, by whatever's going on. So.
Yeah.
So yeah, any day now that sequel's coming, I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Right after this break, I imagine. So first, let's do drinking games.
Let's do some drinking games, sure.
Unless you've got anything else to say about this silly film.
No, I think you've covered all of the important plot points, really.
Okay, well, drink every time the experience says something a bit hippy-dippy.
Yeah, I have a drink for stupid vegan jokes, which is essentially the same thing.
By the way, I forget at what point it comes in the film, but did you notice the bit where she eats fish?
No? When does she eat fish?
Oh, I forget. It's like the...
Not when she eats the sheep testicles at the end, no.
No, it's not that. It's not that. I mean, of course, that joke was in there as well.
Yeah.
No, there was a bit where like she eats like sushi or something, or no. What?
When was the sushi?
No, it's not sushi. No, I forget. Or maybe she just says like she's partial to fish or something. I don't know. There was a bit. Must have been like the housekeeper gave it to her or something.
No, the house when she gets given the.
It's not the testicles.
It is, because that's when she says, "Oh, sometimes I eat fish."
Is it that?
Yeah.
Okay, great. That. Yeah, sure. What? So who are you then?
Maybe she's just a pescatarian.
Yeah, but she's clearly not. I think
she's
multiple
clearly...
times in the film she says that she's a vegan.
No, you're right. Yeah, I don't know. Well, they had to get that in a mouth somehow.
And she's clearly about, all life matters.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, maybe this experience
maybe
teaches her to open up her mind a little bit, and then she becomes a pescatarian.
But what? So this experience makes you think like, oh, okay, yeah, I probably should eat more meat.
Well, sure. I mean, if this is what animals will do...
You survive a zombie apocalypse.
Yeah.
And you think, I want to eat some more meat now. You know what I've got a craving for? Eating some flesh.
I would definitely...
Like, I'm not against it, by the way. But, really, you finish a zombie apocalypse and you just want to eat some flesh.
Well, I would imagine her sympathy for sheep and other animals has gone down somewhat since before this experience.
Yeah. Although everything that happened was just by human scientists doing stuff to him.
Sure, but, she's at a certain point in the film, she is gleefully riding on the back of a truck, just shooting sheep dead with a sawn-off shotgun, so... True. I think her vegan days are probably behind her.
True, yeah. I mean, I disagree, but also don't really think the film expected anybody to go too deeply into any part of it, let alone this part.
No, absolutely.
So, yeah, okay. Yours?
Okay. Drink every time somebody points a gun at somebody else.
Sure.
It happens so much, and every time they don't react in the slightest.
No.
Like, there's a bit with early on with the housekeeper. Mm-hmm. So there's a housekeeper who's the one who tells the two boys that, oh, your dad's had an accident. Like, yeah. And then later on, the grown-up Harry, whatever his name is, goes into the family house, and the housekeeper just points a sawn-off shotgun at the back of his neck. Mm-hmm. And then just kind of goes...
presses it against his head.
Presses against his head, and he just kind of goes, oh, Mrs. Mac.
Yeah.
And he's so casual. Like, this is a man who was morbidly afraid of sheep.
Yeah.
But having shotgun placed to the back of his neck, that's just like, oh, Mrs. Mac.
Yeah. And, like, when he greets her, she's like, I've not killed anybody since Christmas!
Yeah. So, well, again, that was just a stupid joke, but yeah.
Very good. Drink for transformations.
Yes. Which, once again, looked great.
They did. Like, when Tucker was, like, sort of toggling between the two, like, that was a really good effect.
It was very like American Werewolf. Have you seen those movies?
No, but I've seen the transformations.
Yeah. So it like they really obviously were paying tribute to those like 80s body horror kind of films. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it was good.
Yeah,
I liked it a lot. Yeah. Drink for abrupt scene transitions.
Oh yeah.
This is what I meant about like how the jokes didn't land. Like, there were a lot of moments when just a scene would be kind of happening, and then it would just be like, oh, now we're going to go to something else. And it felt like the scenes weren't flowing in a way that had a good like cinematic rhythm to them. It was just like, oh, and now we're in the next scene. Yeah. Like, it was very strange. It's hard to describe, but it was very strange. Did you notice it?
Not massively, no.
Okay, I really did. It was just... it just didn't have good flow for me at all. Probably just because of the bad acting. But
yeah.
Okay, last one. I guess just drink whenever someone gets bitten. I mean, that'll really...
Oh, yeah.
That'll send you over the edge completely.
Yeah, definitely a good one.
Yeah.
So on that cheerful note, listeners, just before we get to sequels, just want to remind you that me and John are on Patreon. You can go to patreon.com/beyondtheboxset. You can support us for as much or as little as you think we're worth. We don't do tiered systems.
We have a fake tiered system where every tier gets you the same amount of
basically
benefits.
Pay as you feel, really. If you do, you get a few benefits. You get a bonus show where every now and then we'll just review a film instead of pitching sequels to it. I've got another one coming out just after this episode. Going to do it on that Eurovision film that's on Netflix right now. That
I have much to say about that film. Yeah.
I'm sure you do. Also, you get the extended versions of the main show episodes, which really good, little bit of bonus content for you.
Yeah.
Also, you get a 30-second advert slot on the main show. Every now and then you get guest on the main show as well. You can choose a film for us to do.
Yeah.
Don't need to guest, you don't want to. You can just choose film and we'll do it for you. And also you get our exclusive Facebook group. So, yeah, all that available at patreon.com/beyondtheboxset.
Yes.
Let's see, Alex. What do you think of Jaws, which is at 97% Rotten Tomatoes?
I find it to be anti-shark propaganda. What do you feel about the Entourage movie, which is at a meager 33%?
I think they finally got Hollywood right. How about It Follows, 97%?
Worse than your parents giving you the sex is evil talk. How do you feel about Juno, which is at 94%?
That would be a movie that celebrates a teenage homewrecker. How about Bewitched at 25%?
Best television adaptation ever put to film. How do you feel about American Hustle at a towering 93%?
Overwrought awards bait. Righteous Kill, 19%.
The movie that Michael Mann wishes he had made when he created Heat.
Sounds about right. I'm Julio.
I'm Alex, and we are the Contrarians.
As you can tell, our thing is that we rage against the Rotten Tomatoes machine.
Regardless of what we really feel.
Find us on Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Stitcher, TuneIn,
Facebook, Twitter, we're everywhere.
Right, do you want to do a sequel?
So my sequel, in classic horror movie style, I think it opens on a cold open.
Okay.
And this cold open is of an open field. We're still in New Zealand, and a single sheep is walking. How would you describe how a sheep moves? Does it walk? Does it canter? Does it totter?
It walks.
It walks. Okay.
I mean, depends how it walks.
You know, it's just kind of strolling.
It's just walking along. It's walking.
It's walking. Okay, fine. So it's a single sheep walking through a field on its own, and it comes upon a quiet village. The sheep comes upon like the outskirts of a very quiet village, and it wanders in. And there's no one around, no one on the streets, whatever. The sheep is on its own. And in this village, the houses are tiny and green, and it's all very picturesque. And the sheep can hear the sound of like revelry from a local pub. So the sheep follows the sound of the fun being had, and ambles through the saloon doors of the local tavern, which in which there's a packed crowd of small, hairy-footed people drinking, dancing, and reveling.
Okay.
Yeah. A good time is being had by all, until a voice shouts out, "Cut! Stop everything! There's a bloody sheep on set!"
Great.
And that voice belongs to none other than Peter Jackson.
Of course.
Yeah, I'm sure you were way ahead of me on that.
Yeah.
Yes. So
I got that it was Lord of the Rings. I didn't get that it was the filming of Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. What I'm getting is, famously shot in New Zealand.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, since this film doesn't have anything specifically that ties it to a particular place and time, I don't think. Like, no one uses a smartphone or anything in this film, so it could really be any time. So I'm just going to choose to say it was in the late 90s, or early 90s, whenever those films are being made.
Early 90s. Only a few years before this film.
Probably, yes. So it probably works perfectly, yes. Yeah, so it's Peter Jackson who immediately instructs a crew member, like a boom mic operator or something, to get the creature off set so they can carry on with filming. So the boom operator, who can maybe be a cameo by someone moderately famous, I've not really thought it through, but
Viggo Mortensen or something.
No, it can't be him because he's in the film.
Oh yeah.
Could be Sam Neill.
Great.
He's from New Zealand.
Yeah.
That's a good cameo from Sam Neill. Runs up to the creature, kind of grabs it by the neck and hauls out of the tavern, off the set. Once it's outside, he releases it and attempts to kind of shoo it away. But the sheep's just not moving.
Yeah.
It just stands there, not going anywhere. And so Sam Neill, the boom mic operator, has to be more and more aggressively trying to like get the sheep to run away, shouting louder and trying to shove it. Nothing doing. The sheep just stands there, stares at him, like dead behind the eyes.
Yeah.
Until eventually the sheep's eyes turn red and it bites down on Sam Neill's arm very hard enough to draw blood. So he screams in pain, and then the sheep finally runs off. And then Sam Neill, our boom mic operator, swearing and grumbling loudly, staggers back into the set, gets a bandage for his bloodied arm, and filming continues. Yeah. And then we get the title card. Black Sheep, the Tewe Towers.
Oh no.
Tewe, 2 Towers. And what this is going to be, my concept for the sequel. I'm proud of that.
Yeah, whatever, carry on.
My concept is that obviously it is a film about backstage at the making of the Lord of the Rings trilogy. But I'm also thinking we can bring in, I'm just trying to bring in all the New Zealand stuff that I know. So it's also a spoof documentary. And I'm thinking the main characters are, so it's about the filming of the Two Towers from the perspective not of the actors and the directors, but of like the stagehands and the boom-mic operators and the stunt coordinators, all the all the practical people basically. And I'm thinking they can all be played by Taika Waititi and Jermaine Clement and that whole crew. All of the people who were in like What We Do in the Shadows and all those movies. Yeah. And it can take the form of a behind the scenes making of the Two Towers documentary that they're filming for the DVD release. That just so happens to be taking place while a zombie sheep infestation sweeps through the set.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's not the intention of the documentary, but that's just what's happening. So I mean, obviously Sam Neill has been infected by so he's going to die fairly early on. He's going to succumb to his sheep bite and become like a sheep zombie man hybrid thing, and he's going to bite more people, and it's just going to spread around basically. So yeah, the main cast are going to be these like backstage players. So it's going to have Elijah Wood, Ian McKellen, Viggo Mortensen, Sean Astin, Andy Serkis. They're all going to be in this, but only in like the background. Okay, they can like send themselves up, like their screen personalities up as like spoiled actors, but they're only really in the background. You just see them in like background shots and stuff. So I think that would make it like funny. I'm thinking of it really as that like spoof documentary kind of thing,
right? Yeah.
So they can just be cameoing as themselves. But while they're trying to make this, trying to get the Two Towers filmed, which is a very high stakes situation, there's also this zombie sheep apocalypse happening in the background, and all the main cast, all the main crew are starting to be bitten by sheep, and people are going missing, people are turning up dead, people are turning up like limbs ripped off, dicks eaten, the whole shebang. And so the crew are having to desperately try and contain this problem while keeping shooting on track and on budget. Obviously going to be
because it's a big film.
It's a huge film, and they've already sunk a huge amount of money into it. Because wasn't it that they shot all 3 Lord of the Rings films before even one of them was released?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
So this happens midway through the Two Towers. They can't afford to just be like, well, we need to shut down production because there's a zombie apocalypse happening. Like, there's no money for that. Like, they've committed too much already.
Yeah. God, it's insane they managed to get the go-ahead to film all 3 films at once. I'm going off topic now.
I don't think it would ever happen again. I think,
like, because Lord of the Rings wasn't...
It wasn't a sure thing.
No, like, it was just it was a very good series of books that was dear to a lot of very nerdy people's hearts.
True.
And
I guess they're somewhat doing...
It takes a lot to do something like that and to make it work. Like, it worked for Star Wars, but that was just one film when it started.
Yeah. Yeah, no, exactly. Star Wars had already come out and been huge before they said that they could make 2 more. Yeah, no, it's insane. Like, I know now they're making like the 2, 3, and 4 Avatar films at the same time. But at least they can say that 1 already was the most profitable film of all time, or the most high-grossing film of all time.
Yeah.
Like, whereas, Lord of the Rings was huge stab in the dark.
Yeah, massively.
And you think how like intricate and how good those films are as well. It's not just like they were just 3 cheapy films. Like
they must have been very high budgets.
Yeah, no, absolutely. They absolutely were. So
Peter Jackson must have slept with a lot of people.
Clearly, yeah. You do what you got to do.
Yeah.
I'm sure Ian McKellen helped. So yeah, basically, we're going to be showing the filming of the Two Towers in the background of this increasingly fast-paced, sweeping zombie sheep infestation. So yeah, as well as the cast obviously playing versions of themselves. I think like, so initially we've got our crew members who are like, they're all going to be like lowly boom mic operator, stunt coordinators, sound guy, not high ranking in the whole film, and they're really trying to keep it under wraps. First of all, we're going to follow them as they understand what's happening. Like, first of all, Sam Neill's character disappears, and then and then some other bodies start being found, being like brutally massacred and chewed up, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
and they're trying to solve the mystery, and then they're going to figure out, oh, it's sheep.
Yeah,
it's some kind of zombie sheep apocalypse, and then they're trying desperately to like keep that under wraps and keep the film going without letting like Peter Jackson or the cast know what's going to happen. And then it's going to escalate and escalate and escalate. More people are going to die, and eventually they have to tell Peter Jackson because it's just the entire crew is being overwhelmed. Like half the crew are like sheep zombies at this point. So I'm thinking Peter Jackson can kind of play a tyrannical version of himself. Where they finally tell him, and he doesn't give a shit. He's like, I don't give a fuck, just deal with it. Like, we're going to finish this film one way or another.
Yeah.
So nothing's going to stop him. So, and what I'm thinking is, so they're trying to like fight off hordes of actual zombie sheep, much like the first film, while also trying to like choreograph the Battle of Helm's Deep. So, which is a very tricky battle scene, and requires a lot of extras. To play the orcs. And I'm thinking the day will come for filming this incredibly important battle scene, and that'll be the same day that the sheep zombies fully attack, and basically they're going to eat all of the extras. All the extras get eaten. And so there's no extras, and this is a disaster. There's no extras left for the most important battle sequence in the movie. So they don't know what to do, and that's when they have to come clean to the director and to the actors and be like, look, we can't shoot this battle sequence today because we have no extras. They're all gone. They've all been eaten by. But we do have a giant army of sheep zombies. And that's when the actors are like, well, we're trained for battle, and so they decide to shoot the Battle of Helm's Deep. And because I did think like the zombie sheep kind of look like orcs.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I'm just thinking it'd be really fun if like the big battle sequence in the two towers with all the like orcs, on the battlefield, like they're all fighting for real. Like all the orcs are actually just half transformed sheep zombies who are like driven by bloodlust. And all of the actors are like fighting for their actual lives. And some of them are a lot better at this than others, but they succeed, and that's how they win. They all rally, and they fight back, and thank God they managed to win the day, and they get a really great battle sequence out of it
because it's a real battle.
It's a real battle.
Okay, I like it.
That's the two towers.
Very good.
Stupid, but
very silly.
Yeah.
Okay, so mine starts sometime after the original. Doesn't really matter. One of the scientists who created the Oldfield sheep, that sheep that was revealed, has decided to do it again.
Also, a scientist survived. Because they all got fully eaten in the original movie.
This guy wasn't on site at the time.
Okay, sure. He was on annual leave. Sure.
But this time he's going to brand it as his own invention and sell it himself.
Oh, okay.
Cause,
is that his evil scheme?
Yeah, basically.
Sure.
He's like, well, clearly that was going to be a thing, and I know how to do it, so I may as well do it and sell it, make some money.
Sure. Okay.
Great. Yeah, but like as far as he knows, the Oldfield isn't a killer, like or anything like that. He doesn't know anything about that because he wasn't on site. He just knows that all the farmhouses were destroyed by hippies last time, and lots of people were murdered and driven insane.
Okay, so he doesn't see any connection between that and the genetically modified sheep that he's working with.
No, he just thinks that activists got in the way of it
and just gutted people. Sure. Okay. Well. Violent vegans.
Well, maybe that's the cover story.
Sure, that's PETA for you.
It's an easier sale, isn't it? Like, it's an easy thing to put in newspapers, just like activists blow up a farm rather than like zombies.
Sure. Yeah.
So anyway, he goes ahead and he makes another Oldfield sheep. The sheep is born, and the scientist aims to mother it to maturity. So cue a super cute montage.
Oh, so it's like, is it like starting as
he's got a little
an adorable baby lamb?
Yeah.
So like the practical effect lamb fetus in the original movie, but like super cute.
Yeah.
Like the Gremlins version.
Sure, yeah.
Okay, great. I like that.
That sort of thing.
Okay.
And as the montage goes on, the lamb gets a bit older and stuff.
Is it like going to be bottle feeding and stuff?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
But only a little bit older, as the lamb can start to sort of like move around by itself and stuff and do its own thing. It starts to get a bit bitey.
Sure, yeah.
This scientist, he can recognise a failure.
Right, yeah.
He can see like, oh yeah, this isn't it. This hasn't worked. This is not sellable. And so he needs to terminate it.
Oh no.
So he gets one of those gun things that farmers use, that just puts like a metal block just in something's skull.
Oh yeah.
He gets one of them and he presses against the head of the lamb as it sleeps, but he can't do it.
It's too cute.
Can't do it. They've become way too attached for him to actually kill it.
Pull the trigger
himself. Yeah. So instead, he sends it away to get killed off somewhere else. Sends it to the local abattoir.
Right. Okay. Big mistake.
Yeah. So we follow the lamb as it goes into a lorry full of adult sheep and is taken to the abattoir. It's guided out of the lorry and through a corridor between two wire fences leading to an entrance to the building. And there's some farmers nearby on the other side of the fences who are just talking. The lamb, being quite small because it's only a lamb,
Mhm.
and these fences are designed for to stop grown sheep, manages to squeeze through the fence.
Of course it does. Yeah.
It runs up to the farmers and sort of bleats at them. And some of the farmers laugh at it because it looks a bit weird.
Mhm.
And one of them looks down at it and finds it so adorable, his heart absolutely melts. And he picks it up. And while looking into its eyes, he says, I think this will be a great gift for my son.
Oh no. Is this just fully gremlins at this point?
I think I'll name it Babe.
Oh, Babe was a pig.
So now it's a sheep.
Okay.
Go with me on this.
Okay.
And so from here on, it is basically the story of Babe. But instead of being a pig, it is a man eating sheep.
Okay.
Yeah, and so then it's going to kind of go through the film of Babe. But instead of convincing all the other sheep to do whatever the sheepdog says or whatever happened in Babe, when they have to win the talent show
Yeah,
and stuff.
sure. When was the last time you watched Babe?
Quite a while ago.
Yeah, I'm getting that vibe.
Yeah, it would have been it would be something for the show, but it's got a sequel.
Oh yeah, Babe Pig in the City, a
Yeah.
classic sequel.
Yeah, great title.
Yes.
But yeah, instead of convincing the sheep to, do what the sheepdog says, Babe, the man-eating sheep, convinces them to overthrow their human overlords.
Oh, okay, he becomes like a warrior leader.
And spread the word to neighbouring farms.
While still being a tiny, cute little baby sheep, baby lamb.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. Okay.
And so Babe, the man-eating lamb, sorry, I should be calling it a lamb, organises a nationwide mutiny.
Ooh, and there's like 40 million of those things in New Zealand.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And so all on the same day, all 40 million sheep in New Zealand overthrow the farmers.
Oh, wow.
The sheep all break loose, they wreak havoc on the whole country, and the few humans that survive refer to it as the Mutton apocalypse.
The Mutton apocalypse. Very good.
The rest of the world does not notice.
No, it's just New Zealand.
Yeah.
Just gets wiped off by sheep. Yeah.
So that was Black Sheep 2, the Mutton apocalypse.
I like it. Mutton apocalypse, is that a pun on something?
No.
No, okay. I like it. I'm just trying to think about it. Yeah.
Not intentionally.
No. Okay. Okay,
I
good.
was trying to think of something. I was trying to think of a pun.
Yeah.
But this came and I was like, this is actually really good. I was also trying to think of something to do with like mutiny and mutton, but...
Okay, like muttony on the bounty, it doesn't work.
Nothing worked. Nothing worked.
Okay.
So yeah, I think the Mutton apocalypse is what I'm going to go with for that one.
I really, really like the idea of like a cute, tiny little baby sheep that talks that is also like a Hitler-esque war leader.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I want it to have like one eye patch and speaking in a little high pitched helium voice, like
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
all that works.
All the surviving humans get sent to like prison camps and. Yeah, you could really go to some places with this.
You could.
All the humans get sent to abattoirs.
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. No, I like that.
It's like a role reversal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah, so that's the Mutton apocalypse.
Very good, very good. I like that. I can see the potential there.
Yeah. All right then. Do you want to do some listener submissions?
Yeah. Do you not have any this week?
No, I don't.
Well, if you will pick obscure films, then.
Well, it's not that obscure.
Well, you didn't get any listener submissions, did you? So.
Well, my post didn't get approved for whatever reason.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure why. Genuinely, I'm not sure why.
Okay. Well, I managed to get a few in. So okay. Tim Morgan said, "All black sheep. The evil sheep get their first international caps against Wales."
Okay.
I believe that's a rugby joke.
I think so.
All Blacks.
Yeah.
I don't really follow the sport, as you know, but yeah. Ryan Klemer said it just better star Brie Larson, and I can't tell, is that a sheep pun? Is there a pun in Brie Larson of like sheep, or is it just because Brie Larson's in a lot of films? I was trying to figure it out, but I couldn't figure out if there was a pun in there or not. She played Wonder Woman, right?
No, Captain
Marvel, maybe.
Brie Larson.
Yeah, it sounds plausible, doesn't it? But I just can't make the connection.
Yeah, I feel like a pun is really close there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know it.
Okay, Ryan, let us know what the intention was behind that, please.
Because I can't think of like any more of her like big famous films. I don't know, like Room or Captain Marvel or something. But none of them have any relation to sheep.
No. Yeah. Okay, well, Ryan, let us know where that was coming from, because I think I like the idea, but I feel like we didn't fully appreciate it. Anyway,
I'm going to be thinking about that one for weeks.
I know, yeah, same. It really.
What's the connection?
What is the connection? We'll be like writing on chalkboards, like in the middle of the night, crazy people. Anyway, Dan Lebrecq said, "Red herrings. Town folk are mysteriously disappearing and being found dead, covered in tiny bites. Are the bats to blame, or piranhas, or koalas, or deer, or squirrels, or ghosts, or the new fish found in the pond, or stray cats, or wild horses, or and so on and so on."
Yep.
So yeah, red herrings. Okay, my personal favourite by a long shot this week, Mike Carey said, "Black sheep's back, all right." That is great. Love that. Joe Herman said, "The third one needs to be called Black Sheep with a 3, SH3EP."
Yeah.
Tyler Petty said, "Black Sheep Chew," so same joke I made, Chew Towers, Black Sheep Chew. Yeah. Isaiah Hand said, "Obviously the title has to be Black Sheep 2 Back in Black."
Nice.
And Scott Hillman said, "A Black Sheep Christmas. It's Christmas Day, and at a family gathering, that one uncle who nobody much likes turns up to the dinner. There's always one in every family. And he brings his new girlfriend, who's called Dolly. But when he arrives, it turns out Dolly is a sheep. And while the relationship isn't romantic, it is awkward having a guy at the dinner table with livestock." And then and Scott says it turns out that the sheep is a mind-controlling zombie sheep, so who somehow managed to,
Mind control the uncle.
hypnotise Uncle Dickhead. I don't know. Yeah,
Uncle Dickhead.
there's always an Uncle Dickhead. A few more. These are more like reviews. Martin Gardner at MG Loves Fun says, "This film sounds great or terrible. Either way, I must see it." At the Cinema Guys said, "Black Sheep is such a great horror comedy." And finally, the Contrarians at Contrarian Prime said, "David Spade's agent tells him he's been offered a role in the Black Sheep sequel. He takes it without even reading the script, and hilarity ensues." So I need to explain that one. There is another movie called Black Sheep that was released in 1996.
Right.
It's an American frat boy comedy kind of thing, starring Chris Farley, an actor who's now dead, and David Spade, who's in Adam Sandler movies all the time.
Okay, yeah.
So the idea is that he gets told that they're making a sequel to Black Sheep, and he signs on thinking he's making a sequel to the film he made in the 90s. But actually, what he signed up for is a New Zealand zombie sheep apocalypse movie. So that could be quite fun.
Yeah, very good.
So thank you everybody for those sequel ideas. We ask for your listener submissions every week, a few days before we record, by putting posts out on Facebook and Twitter where you can post your ideas. So make sure you like and follow our pages if you don't want to miss out. To listen to more episodes of Beyond the Box Set, you can subscribe and browse our back catalogue on any podcasting platform, including iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, and many others, all of which you can also leave us a 5-star review. It really just helps us to reach new listeners and stay on top of the search rankings, so please do consider it. As mentioned before, we're also available on Patreon, which is exclusively for the people who would rate us 5 stars or more if they could. All the details you can find in the description below or at beyondtheboxset.com. And next week, Harry, we are going to go into a little phase of requests from our Patreon listeners for the next couple of weeks to say thank you to them for sticking with us over this, long pandemic when we've not really been able to do a lot of guest slot stuff. So this is from Julio, one of our dear listener friends, and he has specifically requested that we watch a film called The Girl with All the Gifts.
Ah, okay, yeah. Yeah.
And he did say we should watch it blind. I don't know anything about it. So, yeah.
Sure.
I've heard of it. It rings a bell, but I don't know anything about the plot, about who made it, who's in it. So, yeah, next week we will reconvene and do our sequels to The Girl with All of the Gifts.
Yeah, great.
Cool.
Lovely. See
Sounds
you then.
good. So, yeah, join us next week for The Girl with All the Gifts. Thanks a lot very much.
Thanks for listening, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.